Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like something essential was missing? Not in your appearance, but deep within? Like there's a version of you buried under years of expectations, responsibilities, and silent compromises. Maybe you've checked all the boxes: career, relationships, accomplishments. And yet, a quiet voice inside still whispers, this isn't all there is. There's a longing, a subtle ache, not for more, but for something real, something true, something you. Most people walk through life wearing invisible masks. We play roles to fit in: good student, dependable parent, successful professional. We become what the world asks us to be, and slowly we lose touch with who we really are. That inner spark, the one we had as children, becomes dimmed. We silence our instincts, push away our emotions, and pretend that fitting in is the same as belonging. But deep down, we know better. We feel the disconnection. Sometimes it shows up as anxiety or restlessness. Other times it's a deep fatigue that no amount of sleep can fix. It's the pain of being out of sync with yourself. The world teaches us to chase success, but rarely teaches us how to be whole. And without wholeness, life can feel hollow, even in moments that should bring joy. But what if the solution isn't out there? What if the real work is not about becoming something more, but remembering who you've always been? Imagine a journey that leads you back to your truest self, a path where you face your fears, own your desires, and make peace with the parts of yourself you've kept hidden. This isn't fantasy, it's a forgotten truth. And the moment you step onto this path, your real life begins. In a world overflowing with noise, rules, and expectations, the most profound journey we can take is the one that turns inward. Every day, we are pulled in countless directions by family, work, society, and screens that never stop glowing. We are taught how to succeed, how to behave, how to be liked, but rarely are we shown how to be ourselves. And so, many people move through life on autopilot, going through the motions, fulfilling obligations, yet feeling strangely disconnected. So on the straining full life, going through the motions, fulfilling obligations, yet feeling strangely disconnected. It's not that life is bad. It might even look impressive from the outside. But something feels off. Something feels incomplete. Deep within, there's a silent pull, a sense that we are more than what we present to the world. It might show up in fleeting moments when we are alone with our thoughts, when we dream, or when life forces us to pause. In those moments, we catch glimpses of something deeper, a self that is untamed, honest, mysterious. This inner self is not shaped by what others expect, but by what we truly feel, value, and believe. It's the part of us that holds our potential, our creativity, our wounds, and our wisdom. But reconnecting with this self isn't easy. From childhood, we've been conditioned to hide certain parts of who we are. Emotions that made others uncomfortable were silenced. Dreams that didn't fit the mold were dismissed. We learn to split off from pieces of ourselves just to survive or belong. Over time, this leads to inattention, confusion, and a quiet suffering we can't quite explain. We long for wholeness, even if we don't yet have the words for it. True growth doesn't come from adding more to our lives. It comes from peeling back the layers to uncover what was always there. It means facing not just our strengths, but our shadows. It requires courage to sit with discomfort, to explore the unknown corners of our psyche, and to embrace what we once feared in ourselves. This inner journey isn't about fixing what's broken, but about discovering what's been forgotten. It's about becoming more real, more alive, more complete. There is no one-size-fits-all map for this path. It is deeply personal and often unpredictable. But for those who choose to walk it, the reward is extraordinary. Not just a clearer mind or a calmer heart, but a renewed sense of meaning, purpose, and connection. It's the journey of becoming whole. From an early age, we are taught how to function in the world, how to behave, what to believe, what success looks like. We are handed scripts and are expected to follow them without question. Consciously or not, we shape our personalities to fit in, to be approved of, to be safe. In doing so, we often abandon essential parts of ourselves. Our raw emotions, unique perspectives, intuitive desires, and even our sense of purpose. This process may seem necessary for survival or acceptance, but over time it creates a split within us, a division between who we are and who we are told to be. As life moves forward, this split begins to show. We may feel anxious without knowing why, numb in moments that should feel joyful, or restless even in the midst of comfort. There's often a sense of something missing, not in the external world, but within ourselves. The roles we play start to feel like masks, and the more we try to hold them in place, the more disconnected we become from our authentic experience of life. We may achieve things that others admire, yet still feel hollow inside, as though we've betrayed something sacred within us. One of the greatest challenges is that this disconnection can be hard to recognize. Modern society encourages us to stay busy, stay productive, and stay distracted. We scroll, consume, and compare, rarely pausing to question whether the life we're living is truly ours. And when discomfort surfaces, we're quick to avoid it through entertainment, substances, or superficial goals. But this avoidance only deepens the problem. The longer we suppress our true selves, the more fragmented we feel. At the heart of this challenge lies a powerful truth. We cannot be whole while parts of ourselves remain hidden, rejected, or unexplored. Our emotional wounds, suppressed desires, and forgotten dreams don't disappear. They live quietly in the background, influencing our choices, reactions, and relationships. Without awareness, we repeat patterns, sabotage our own growth, and remain stuck in cycles that drain our spirit. The problem isn't that we are broken, it's that we are incomplete. And unless we find the courage to face the deeper parts of ourselves, we risk living a life that looks full on the outside but feels empty on the inside. The challenge, then, is not to chase after a better version of ourselves, but to reclaim the pieces we've lost along the way. The process of becoming whole is not a straight road, nor is it a quick one. It requires a deep and honest exploration of the self, a willingness to look beyond the surface and engage with all the layers that make us who we are. At the center of this journey lies a simple yet powerful truth. Everything we need is already within us. But to access it, we must be willing to go inward and confront what we've ignored, suppressed, or denied. This inner work often begins with noticing. We begin to pay attention to the patterns in our lives, how we react in certain situations, the thoughts that dominate our minds, the emotions we avoid. We start to recognize the parts of ourselves we've rejected, whether out of fear, shame, or conditioning. These may include our anger, vulnerability, ambition, or even joy. Rather than pushing them away, we begin to listen. Every part of us, even the ones we dislike, has something to teach us. Dreams, memories, and symbols can serve as powerful guides in this process. Our subconscious speaks in a language that's often poetic, mysterious, and layered with meaning. By tuning into this inner dialogue, we start to bridge the gap between the conscious and unconscious mind. This integration is not about perfection, it's about truth. As we bring more of ourselves into awareness, we begin to feel more whole, more grounded, more alive. Relationships, too, offer rich ground for development. Often we project hidden aspects of ourselves onto others. We may be drawn to people who reflect what we're missing or trigger us because they mirror what we avoid. By becoming aware of these dynamics, we gain insight into our inner world. We stop blaming and start understanding. Each encounter becomes an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. Importantly, this journey requires patience and self-compassion. Growth is not always easy. At times we may feel lost, overwhelmed, or uncertain. Old identities fall away and the new self is not yet fully formed. But this space in between, though uncomfortable, is fertile ground for transformation. Here we learn to trust ourselves more deeply, to stand in our truth even when it's unfamiliar. The journey of inner development isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who we are beneath the noise and reconnecting with the parts we'd left behind. It's through this process that we move closer to wholeness, step by step, piece by piece. There comes a moment in every inner journey when the facade begins to crumble. It might arrive in silence, in solitude, or in crisis. A relationship ends, a job loses meaning, a dream falls apart, or we simply wake up one day and feel the weight of living a life that doesn't feel like our own. The discomfort becomes too loud to ignore. What once worked no longer brings peace. The distractions no longer satisfy. And in this space of stillness or despair, we begin to ask a new kind of question. Not, what do I want to achieve, but who am I really? This is the turning point, the key moment where the path inward becomes unavoidable. We stop running, stop pretending, and begin to face ourselves. Not just the polished parts we show to the world, but the parts we've kept in the dark, the hurt child, the angry voice, the deep insecurities, the hidden desires. These aspects, long buried, begin to surface. It's not always pleasant. It can be messy, painful, and confusing, but it is real. And for the first time, there's a sense that we're touching the truth. Rather than fight these revelations, we begin to welcome them. We start to understand that the fear, the sadness, the confusion, all of it is part of us. None of it needs to be fixed or erased. It needs to be seen, acknowledged, and integrated. We find power in acceptance. We realize that vulnerability is not weakness, it's a doorway to authenticity. We no longer chase perfection, but embrace complexity. This shift changes everything. Our choices begin to reflect our inner truth rather than external pressure. We speak more honestly, love more deeply, and live with greater intention. We feel aligned, not because life is suddenly easy, but because we are no longer at war with ourselves. The tension between who we are and who we pretend to be begins to dissolve. And in this clarity we experience a kind of freedom we may have never known. Not the freedom of escaping life's difficulties, but the freedom of finally being ourselves. Fully, authentically, we step into a new way of living, one that is grounded, conscious, and deeply connected to our own inner compass. It is here, in this moment of alignment, that the journey toward wholeness truly takes root. The journey of becoming whole is one of the most meaningful paths a person can take. It asks us to slow down, turn inward, and explore the depths of who we really are, beyond the surface roles, identities, and expectations that have shaped us. This path does not promise ease or comfort, but it does offer something far more valuable: authenticity, clarity, and inner peace. When we begin to face our fears, embrace our imperfections, and reconnect with our true nature, we find a sense of completeness that cannot be found anywhere else. Wholeness is not a destination, nor is it a state of perfection. It is a living, breathing process of integrating all parts of ourselves: the light and the dark, the confident and the uncertain, the joyful and the wounded. It's about embracing contradictions and finding harmony within them. This integration allows us to move through life with greater resilience and self-awareness. We are no longer torn between who we are and who we think we should be. Instead, we stand with both feet firmly rooted in truth. As we walk this path, our relationships begin to shift. We start to connect with others from a place of depth and honesty. We become more compassionate, not just toward others, but toward ourselves. The masks fall away, and in their place, a more genuine version of ourselves emerges, one that no longer fears judgment or rejection, because it is no longer dependent on external approval for self-worth. The beauty of this journey is that it belongs entirely to us. No one else can walk it for us. It requires courage, patience, and a willingness to explore the unknown. Yet, with every step, we grow stronger, more grounded, and more whole. The process of becoming ourselves is not always easy, but it is always worth it. In a world that constantly urges us to become someone else, this journey invites us to become more of who we truly are, to live with integrity, to speak with honesty, to act with purpose, and most of all, to live from within rather than without. This is the quiet power of becoming whole, not through addition, but through remembering and reclaiming all that we've always been. It is here that real transformation begins, and where a meaningful, authentic life unfolds. If you've ever felt a quiet tug inside, a feeling that there's more to who you are than what you've been living, don't ignore it. That inner whisper is not your imagination. It's a signal that something deeper is calling you to awaken, to explore, and to reclaim the parts of yourself that have been hidden or forgotten. You don't need to wait for a crisis or some perfect moment. You can begin now, right where you are. Start by turning your attention inward. Take moments throughout your day to pause and check in with yourself. What are you feeling? What thoughts keep repeating? What parts of yourself are you avoiding or silencing? This kind of self-inquiry is powerful. It opens the door to understanding, healing, and integration. Begin journaling, not to perform or impress, but to express your truth without filters. Let your thoughts spill onto the page honestly. Notice the themes, the emotions, the memories that arise. Over time, patterns will emerge, and in those patterns, you will begin to meet the real you. Reflect on your past, not with blame or regret, but with curiosity. What experiences shaped your beliefs? What messages did you internalize about who you should be? And are those messages still serving you? Ask yourself, what parts of your personality feel authentic? And what parts feel like armor? You can also pay close attention to your dreams, emotions, and reactions. These are not random. They are rich with meaning. When something stirs you deeply, it's a signpost pointing to something important within. Follow it. Consider finding someone to walk this path with. A mentor, therapist, or trusted friend. Speaking your truth out loud can be transformative. But even if you walk alone, trust that each step inward brings you closer to a life that feels real, grounded, and fully your own. Most importantly, give yourself grace. This is not a race. It's a sacred return to your essence. Choose courage over comfort. Choose curiosity over control. And above all, choose to keep going, especially when it's difficult. The path to wholeness is not easy, but it's the most honest, rewarding journey you will ever take. And it begins with one decision: to turn inward and to listen.